We talk Notre Dame football on a regular basis with Brian Driscoll. Join him on his podcast, Irish Breakdown. It's a great source for information, insight into Notre Dame and college football in general. Recruiting, of course, a much different landscape in regards to the timing, the calendar because of COVID, the dead period ending June 1st. July, a very active month for the Irish. Brian Kelly and his staff look forward to August. Get us just kind of caught up on where Notre Dame stands with the fourth-rated class in the country, according to 247 Sports right now.
Yeah, I mean, 19 kids in the class. I think they can get up to 25 to 27, so they're close to being done. I mean, they're done at linebacker, they're done at corner, they're done at tight end. They've got their quarterback in the class. They want to add a little bit more in the secondary, D-line, O-line, and a receiver. And there's about 9 guys on the board right now, and Notre Dame is focusing all their time on those players. And so you look at defensively, they got Jalen Sneed in July, they got Devin Moore in July, they got Benjamin Morrison in July. So they really had a strong month of July, and they're, like I said, now you've got 4 linebackers committed. 3 of them are ranked as top 100 recruits by at least one recruiting service: Jalen Sneed, Josh Burnham, and Junior Tuihalamaka. And then you've got a defensive line class that has Tyson Ford, Aiden Gabera, Donovan Heinisch at nose tackle, 4 corners committed. So right now Notre Dame essentially has 3 spots left on defense, just from a number standpoint. They're trying to add Xavier Nwakpa at safety. It's between Notre Dame and Ohio State for that one. He's a talented top 50 caliber player from the state of Iowa. And then on the defensive line, it's really 2 guys. They want 2 guys left. When Darren Nagu decommitted to go to Vanderbilt, it opened up a spot for them to offer Hero Kanu, who's a defensive tackle from California, originally from Germany. And Notre Dame recently signed a defensive end from Germany who's friends with Hero Kanu. So that should help them, although Ohio State's going to be a very, very major player in this one as well. And then Anthony Lucas, who is an absolute stud. You know, we use the term gap closer on our show, Mark. You know, you've heard that before. Notre Dame's attempt to close the gap on Bama and Clemson and Ohio State, and, you know, the recruits that can help them do that. Well, Anthony Lucas, to me, is not a gap closer. He's a gap eraser. I mean, he's that kind of player. And then you put him in a class with Aiden Gabera, with Tyson Ford, and you feel really good about where Notre Dame is. So that's a guy they're putting a lot of their chips on defense. So they're really close to having – I would say if they don't land another defensive player, they've got a top 5 to 8 defensive class now, and that's where it's going to finish. The landing Xavier Nwakpa, at least one of those D linemen, gives them a chance to have one of the 2 or 3 best defensive classes in the country, and that's how you close the gap, right? I mean, that's where you are. Offensively, there's a little bit more work to do, but even there, the board's in place with C.J. Williams, who's going to announce next Sunday on August 8th between Notre Dame, Texas, USC, and Alabama. And Notre Dame feels really good about where they are there. You've got Tobias Merriweather, who's a top 100 receiver that Notre Dame is in good position with. They're hoping to be able to convince him to make a decision this summer. And then it's about finishing with one more offensive lineman, whether it be Billy Shrout from Wisconsin, Zach Rice from Virginia, or Emil Wagner from Ohio. That's the ideal finish for Notre Dame, is getting at least one of those linemen and those 2 receivers. They do that. And then the offensive class gets a little bit closer to where the defensive class is. And now you're talking about a group that can finish the year as a legitimate top 5 recruiting class.